The bright studio lights of The Tonight Show warmed the stage as the audience buzzed with excitement. It was 1975, and tonight's guest wasn't just any Hollywood star. It was John Wayne, the legendary cowboy himself. Backstage, Wayne stood quietly near the curtain, adjusting his jacket. At 68, his steps were slower than in the old Western days, but his presence still filled the room like thunder rolling across the plains. A stagehand whispered, "Mr. Wayne, you're on in 10 seconds." Wayne nodded, his deep voice calm. "Much obliged." Out front, Johnny Carson leaned toward the camera with his familiar grin. "Ladies and gentlemen," he said, pausing for dramatic effect, "please welcome a man who doesn't need an introduction, the Duke himself, John Wayne." The crowd exploded with applause, clapping hands. Wayne stepped onto the stage, tall and steady, tipping his head slightly as he shook Carson's hand. "Johnny," he said warmly. "Duke," Carson replied, smiling. "I gotta tell you, half this audience grew up wanting to be you." Wayne chuckled and settled into his chair. "Well, I just tried to do my job." For a few minutes, they joked about old Western films, horses that wouldn't cooperate, directors yelling across dusty sets, and Wayne's famous slow walk. Carson leaned forward. "Duke, people see you as the toughest man in America, but I wonder, was there ever a moment you didn't feel so tough?" The audience grew quiet. Wayne paused. His eyes softened as he looked down at his hands. "There was," he said slowly. "After my cancer surgery, I didn't know if I'd ever work again, didn't know if I'd even ride a horse again." The audience listened in silence. "I remember sitting alone one night," Wayne continued, "thinking maybe the Duke was finished. But then I realized something. Strength ain't about how tall you stand. It's about standing back up when life knocks you down." A few people in the audience wiped their eyes, broken heart. Carson nodded respectfully. "Well, Duke," he said softly, "I think I can speak for everyone here when I say we're glad you stood back up." The audience erupted again in applause, longer this time, louder than before, clapping. Wayne smiled gently. "Thank you, Johnny." As the show ended and the band began to play, Carson shook his hand once more. "Come back any time," Carson said. Wayne stood, gave a small wave to the audience, and tipped his imaginary cowboy hat. "Much obliged, folks." And as he walked off stage under the fading lights, everyone watching knew they hadn't just seen a movie star that night, had seen a legend. Glowing star.